Hello and welcome to the Crash Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk through different musicians that we're interested in and then music industry in general. Today's episode is about Prince, which we're both fans of. I think you're a bigger fan than me.
Just a
Um,
little bit.
just a little bit. But yeah, we've decided to do Prince's episode one because Prince is most of the vinyls that I own because Asha got me into Prince. And I think that's a huge part of our friendship, the fact that you do influence my music and like we just both go, oh my god, have you seen this song? And we're like, yeah. So I think we influence each other with that. And yeah, Prince was just a
Absolutely.
normal stepping stone.
Exactly. It was the perfect first episode. So I'm Asha, if you didn't already know, and this is Jay.
Hello.
Hello. And we are both performing art people. We're both theatre girlies.
Yeah.
And as Jay said, we always talk about music, and so we kind of wanted to have a little space where we could talk about our favorite artists, talk about their history and our favorite songs, our favorite albums, and just talk everything
If
music.
we talk about like the stuff in general of like why like our interest in music and then also like because that's like the main reason we started this podcast because of the music we enjoy. So we discuss about our favorite artists and stuff and like what sort of genres we listen to and things like that. Well, I like quite a few variety of artists. A lot of it is like very much pop artists, I'd say. But you get some like different ones in there, like punk as well. But like I mainly like pop, musical theatre, punk music, electro, rock, stuff like that. But yeah, so like Charlie XCX, Sabrina Carpenter, Avril Lavigne, Blink 182, things like that. Yeah, Bad
I love
Bunny's on the list as well.
it. Yay! Get it. I love it. I'm more of a rock or like a heavy metal girl. I think obviously Prince is my number one favorite artist of all time, but I love like Queens of the Stone Age and Slipknot and Bad Bunny. Like I love all different music, but I think rock and metal is really like where my heart is.
I mean, you do have a huge collection for Prince.
It's definitely growing for sure. I don't have that many vinyls. I think I have like 10. I think I have like singles, but actual LPs I've got one here right now that I'm playing. It's Sign of the Times. It's actually my mum's vinyl, but I basically stole it from her and I play it all the time. So, yeah.
So that justifies it.
Exactly, exactly. I take good care of it, so it's just totally fine.
I think, do you know why that like sort of music is what like your favorite? Like, is there a reason for it? Because I feel like mine's more of a narcissistic answer of the fact that I can sing pop songs. Like, because if I look at like some artists where they're like really like shouty, screamy things, like what's it called? Heavy metal. It's
Yeah.
like that I listen to and go, oh, that sounds so cool. But because I can't sing in that range, I'm like, nah, not interested in me.
I
So
actually love that.
yeah. I only listen to
Um,
songs you can sing.
yeah, no, I get that. I think I love heavy metal and rock because I'm very much like because I play bass and stuff, so I love like learning those bass lines and all that. But also, I mean, I was thinking about like all the artists I like, and most of them are men, and I think it does go by what you're saying as like, sometimes male songs are kind of easier to sing if you're not like good at belting and stuff, which I'm not the best at. So, but also I think like I listen Fifi. I listen to a lot of the lyrics and everything, and I just think when you've got a really heavy like riff or something that like really captivates you, I find that heavy metal and rock is it really just captivates me and it just like makes me like really invested in that genre of music. But I'm sure
Yeah.
it's similar with you with kind of pop, like you hear a riff, you hear a specific like what it could be whatever and it kind of captivates you and makes you more interested in it, I guess.
Yeah. Like that you get parts it's like, oh, that's like a really good beat. But also with pop, there's like loads of different versions. There's like somewhere it's like wanting love. There's somewhere it's like, oh, I've just been heartbroken, like
Yeah.
going through loads of different ones. Like one, like, as I said, I like Taylor Swift as a fan, but like I'm not one of those people who like can't hear any criticism.
Yeah.
Like those just sound like so like slides. Like as I said, like the whole drama between like the Taylor Swift Charlie XCX thing. I
Hmm.
loved both songs, like
Yeah.
Sympathy is Life and Actually Romantic.
Yeah.
But as I said, it feels more punching down from Taylor Swift to Charlie XCX,
Hmm.
and Charlie XCX is like more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like I think the thing about what Taylor Swift shows in pop is like the differences of emotion and feeling. Because like there's a
Mhm.
bit where she's like doing it from storytelling point of view.
Yeah.
It's like where it's fake, and then you go, oh, this is like a story. But then you have ones like Reputation, which is my favorite one because it's more like, oh, everyone pisses me off. I just want revenge. Like everyone's terrible, and I'm like, yeah, that
That's
you
so
know,
you.
just very cynical. And then you get ones like Lover, where it's like, oh my God, here I am in my era where I'm all healed and I love, oh. And it's just like, so you get like that one's a good album as well, but it's like ones where I'm like, I just like the more angrier songs. Like that's like because I think Reputation is closest to like a punk-esque for
Yeah.
Taylor because it's like I like Avril Lavigne a lot, and it's like I think that's closest Taylor Swift was to Avril Lavigne.
Yeah. No, I get it. And also I think like, when you have those angry songs, the closest emotion to anger is sadness. And I think when you have those lyrics that really hit home to you, it's like, oh my God, like that is me if I was a song. And I mean, it doesn't really matter what kind of genre it is. If you hear a line that kind of explains your whole life story, it's like, oh my goodness, that song's like, it doesn't matter if it's a really good hook or a really good beat, like that is my song. I love any genre like that, like it's amazing.
Well, I think that's a good overview of our love of music.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Perfect. So where would you like to start with Prince? Because we could literally be here forever.
I mean, I do have some notes about his earlier childhood
Me too.
with stuff because from what like when I was like looking at it, it was like things to do with like his dad being like a pianist and his mum a jazz singer. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, so it's like he came from people who were into music themselves. It's
Hmm.
like that's something which I wasn't aware of. Like when I think of Prince, I just think like, oh, it's like he was someone who would have started into that on his own accord rather than it being a part of his family.
Yeah. I so agree. And also, do you know what? When like I was researching more about his childhood, it really reminded me of the band Aerosmith. Steven Tyler, he kind of had a similar upbringing. Like I think his dad was like a classical musician and like he would always lie under his dad's piano and would just hear classical music and that's he got into piano that way and stuff like that. And like there are so many artists that start out that way and it just is like it's like in his blood, right? Like it's literally in Prince's blood to kind of just be a musician or teach music or something like that. I think that's just like so interesting to me and how that works.
Because like as well with the whole thing of like his dad playing the piano, I saw things of like his dad basically being like, "You'll never be as good as I am at
Hmm.
piano," and it's like that's the thing of like when I was like watching videos on it and stuff, it's like those things being like, "Oh yeah, his dad was like very much like he left when he was 12. Wait, no, was it 12? No, he left. His dad left when he was 7,
Hmm.
and then it's the whole thing of like he wouldn't be able to play his dad's piano whilst his dad was around, and so it'd
Yeah.
be him basically waiting for his dad to not be there for him to like kind of like play around with it and like
Yeah.
sort of doing that self-teaching that he did to a lot of instruments.
Yeah.
And then wasn't it like I saw a thing saying it's his first melody was Funk Machine, which was like he was doing when he was like playing around on his like dad's piano and stuff. And it's
Hmm.
like for me, I was like saw that and I was like literally most of the musicians I look at, it's like why is it always they sort of have like this disconnect where it's like their dad was like pushing down on them. Like same with like with Amy Winehouse. It's like her dad left when she was young and like wasn't really present. And then
Hmm.
she felt those shifts and it's like it became a part of her music. And
Yeah.
it's like it's that thing of like because I know Prince did reconnect with his dad afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's the thing of like where same with Amy Winehouse, when it's like when she became successful, that's when her dad started to come back into the picture. It's like seems that it does like the personal life does lead to an impact into it and like should make them have that driving force.
Yeah, and I think it is that sense of rebellion. Like when you're a child, when someone says you can't do something, you try with your everything to prove that person wrong. And I think when you look at Prince's first album, which is called For You, which is like one of my favorite albums ever, he played like all 27 instruments on there. And it's just like it's kind of like a FU kind of thing to like his dad, and is like, you think I can't play all of this stuff? I'm going to play not just piano, not just guitar. I'm going to play every single instrument. I'm going to record everything myself and write everything myself. And I'm just going to prove to you that actually I am better than you. And maybe he wasn't so arrogant like that, but I think it's really interesting to kind of have that rebellious nature. And I just think it's just so cool. I think you could, my camera is crazy. I think you can hear that in the first album. It's kind of like it's it's his experimental album. And I love the album. And I wrote in my notes that I feel like his first album and his last album sound so similar. And I think there was such a full circle with his whole discography of, continuously trying to prove himself. And I think you can really hear him trying out new stuff and seeing if his experimental side is actually successful.
And I do see that because it is that thing of being there, like, okay, so you say I can't be good at piano. I'm gonna like not only be good at piano, I'm gonna be best at a lot of
Every
different
single
things.
instrument,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's so it is that good thing. And like as I was doing research for this episode, I was there going like, you know what? I feel like Prince is what an artist should be. Of like,
Hmm.
I was there going like, he's literally doing it for the love of doing it, not just
Yeah.
to put stuff out. It's like so when I was like looking at it, I was like, okay, he feels like the like to me one of the most authentic musicians out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think, when you look at his whole discography, and yes, some of them were considered flops, and some fans don't like some of the work he's done. But I think when it comes to experimenting with stuff, and also, like you said, being so authentic, like he wrote all of his songs. Yeah, he might have written stuff with, some of his bandmates and other celebrities and whoever, but he didn't have any ghostwriters. He had his own studio at Paisley Park, and he just was in his own little bubble creating music that he loved. And he didn't necessarily care about what the press thought or what like Rolling Stones thought, as long as he, you know, got something out of it spiritually. That was a success for him. And I think that's just what everyone kind of needs to do.
Yeah. So it's yeah, as I said, I will go into that topic more later because
Yeah.
like I went for a whole rant in like because I was like making phone notes as I was going through some stuff and I was like I literally had a whole rant about it and I was like, you know what, I'll save it. I sent you a voice note about it being like, oh, I can't wait. But
No, I
yeah,
love it. I love it.
Prince in a room with a load of like record labels, but it's like him showcasing his different musical talents of like the different instruments he could play and
Yeah.
like them being like, this is crazy. What do you mean he's playing all of those by himself?
Hmm. I
Yeah.
just think it's so cool. Like, and I mean, that was in like 1977 when he was in his band, and then 1978 when he released For You. Um, I think when you take a look at like all the artists around him, and like you said, like the color of his skin does play into it, which I just think is insane. But when you think of like the 70s, it doesn't seem that long ago. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like it's just so far away. And when you look at today's society, and I also think, Prince was very much like race was always throughout all of his albums, and he was so proud of where he came from. And I just think like, all the stuff with Warner Brother, which like we'll get into, but I really do think that played such a big race played such a big part of that. And I think also the misogyny that he dealt with and press and everything like that, like you can't help but think like, what was the reason for this? And I think race was such a big thing.
Yeah.
And when you take a look at, I mean, we're like, this is me jumping ahead, but I'm pretty sure like I think it was Little Red Corvette, and that video was like one of the first videos on MTV.
Like there was a whole thing of like with the comparison of him and Michael Jackson. I
Yeah,
know from his end he was there saying like it feels like I'm only being compared to Michael Jackson because we're both black. And it's like
exactly.
that was majority the case with the press and media
Hmm.
at that.
Yeah, it's just insane how like you're in the 70s and like Little Red Corvette came out in the 80s, and it's just like how slow the progression was of showcasing these incredible black artists. I just think it's just mental. It's just insane.
Like you can think as well, like the amount of talent that was probably around at that time that we don't have today because it was just
Mhm.
like they were deemed like, oh, it doesn't really matter because of their race.
Absolutely.
But it's like
It's
we probably lost a lot of worthwhile
Yeah,
things.
it's similar to like Billy Preston and the Beatles, right? So when they did the album Let It Be, Billy Preston was like all over that album. He was known as the fifth Beatle, but people didn't count him as it because he was black and he only played piano. It's like, yeah, but like the whole album Let It Be is so soulful to me, and I think that wouldn't have been executed correctly if it was like John Lennon on the piano. I think they needed that like whatever Billy Preston brought to that album, and yet he got no recognition. And that was like in the 60s, right? So you've got that was released in 1970, it was created in 1969. But and then you've got that, and then you've got 1978. So you've got around 10 years and there's just no progression. And there are artists like Billy Preston who are like underground and like he has incredible music, but he's just not recognized.
It's just loads of people just overlooked
Yeah.
because like differences, which doesn't even matter because
Hmm.
realistically, when I see someone's music, like race does play a part of like the story that they tell from their like experiences,
Yeah.
but like it shouldn't be a end all be all of whether or not you deserve to share your story based on those stuff.
So we've kind of covered his childhood and kind of where he started from. I would love to kind of cover Purple Rain, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because, that's like it is his most iconic album. For me personally, it's not my favorite by any means. Like, when I think of, like, if someone was to ask me, like, say if you were to come up to me and be like, I'm a new Prince fan, can you recommend me a Prince album? Purple Rain would just not be on my radar. I
Yeah.
would personally give you, like, Love Symbol. I would give you The Gold Experience. I would give you like 3121 musicology because those albums to me kind of show his talent more than Purple Rain does.
I mean, as I said, from what I've listened to, because I wasn't a princess until like we pretty much became friends.
Hmm.
It was like the ones that like mean a lot to me is the ones that's like that's the one I got for my first vinyl. So it's more like attached to experience
Yeah,
than like going, oh, that's known to be popular.
yeah.
It's like I went to a record store, saw this like vinyl for like £8 and I then got
Hmm.
it. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm listening to that one on repeat.
I mean, Purple Rain was a success in its own right, but I mean, the album is perfect. Like, I don't want to hate on it. I do love that album. It is perfect. When you think of like the best albums in the 80s, like Purple Rain is gonna be like number one or number two, right? Because it's you can hear it at clubs, you can hear it when you're sad, you can hear it when like no matter what mood you're in, it's completely perfect. And it is a really nice way to kind of ease someone into the Prince community or whatever. It wouldn't be the one I would pick, but I can see why it is so popular because when you take a look at like the track, like let me get the album. I've got the album in my room. Hold on. I've got the album. When you take a look at the track list, like I'm just gonna read you the track list, right? And like it's insane. You start with Let's Go Crazy. Insane starter of an album, right? And then you go from Let's Go Crazy to Take Me With You, The Beautiful Ones, Computer Bloom, Darling Nikki, When Doves Cry, I Would Die For You, Baby I'm a Star, and Purple Rain. Insane run. That is an insane that's insane. There's like I cannot think of an album. Maybe Thriller. Maybe Thriller is a close second. I can't think of another album that has an insane run like that. Track by track, it's a no skip album. It's insane.
Yeah. No, but like as you said, it's like it is a thing of where because that one is so popular, where it's like
Mhm.
it's that kind of thing where is it because of the film that is why it's so popular? And then also like is that why people promote that one to new fans so much because it's classed as the safe bet? It's like
Yeah.
there's that why you wouldn't personally recommend it because you go, okay, there's so much that people could be missing out on because they're
Hmm.
told that this one is the one to go for.
Yeah. I just think personally, like if you really want to show someone, a new fan, Prince's talent and the way he pushed all those boundaries that the pop music, like I couldn't even put him into a genre. To me, he is his own genre. I don't know. Like my mum, she was in the la on the landing saying Sign of the Times would be the one that I would pick, which I do agree with. It's one of the best albums. But I don't want to say Purple Rain is a safe bet because I think at the time it was pushing its own boundaries for the
Yeah.
80s. Um, I just don't know. I really couldn't. I don't know why it's not my favorite. I don't know why. I just think when you look at his whole discography, there are so many other albums that even like weren't as successful. Like my favorite Prince album is New Power Soul, and you can only find it on Tidal. I think it's one of his best because it's just so different from all the mainstream stream albums that were successful, whatever you want to claim successful to be. But I don't know. Do you like Purple? What's your favorite song on Purple Rain?
I mean, I haven't listened to the full album, so I wouldn't be able to say my whole opinion. I would say as it like the one that is most known is just Purple Rain, but that as I
Yeah.
said, that's not through me going like, oh, okay, that's the best in the album. That's me going like, okay, that's because that's what people say is the best. So you go,
Yeah.
okay, not all these people can't be wrong. But it's like when I was like going through being like, okay, like I'm new to Prince, what like album am I gonna go and pick out like to listen to? The one that I was there going like, you know what, I'm gonna choose that one is the first one I listened to properly is Controversy. Because I was just there like for me, I was like that was sort of a thing of like him doing that as the sort of like rebellion thing because of like people being like about the way he dressed and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
he's just there going like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to lean into it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I love that album. It's so good.
and like as I said, like throughout like being a fan of Prince, as I said, I still haven't been able to delve into like a lot of his stuff because of how
Hmm.
much he just made. Like when you go like, oh, okay, how many songs does Prince have? And he goes like, oh, here's like a list of like 700. Just like what?
Yeah,
And it's like so. As I said, like I hope at some point to be able to have like listened to more, and then like we can have like another conversation in future, being like, oh, okay, like
yeah,
now I'm like, okay, now I've watched the films that he's done, like listened to more of the
yeah.
music, and be like, wow. But like
Hmm.
as I said, like as someone who is starting off, like because there could be people who listen who's like still not as into Prince. And it's like I think the playlist that you did make for me was helpful because it had a lot of different moods of like
Yeah.
Prince things. So you could be like, oh, okay, this one's like feeling more sad. This one's more like rebellious. This one's just like more, just like pop based, like well not pop, but like more for the general public rather than just selling for one person.
Yeah, I when it came to that playlist, I really wanted to play put on just like the deep cuts. Because like I said, Purple Rain, I wouldn't not that I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, that sounds horrible. But it would be way further down the line. The list, I mean. When you were like getting into Prince, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna make this playlist for you that have my favorite songs on there and songs that no one talks about and that are so underrated and that really show his range. And that it just proves that he's not a genre. I'm so happy there's no Zoom. You don't understand how happy I am right now.
Like as you said, like there's those people who hate on songs that you love, and it's like
Yeah,
just because it doesn't reach them personally doesn't mean it's not that
a good
same
song.
for someone else.
Hmm.
And it's like that's why, as I said, it's like a thing of where like I see people say about movies, like because for me, I'm someone who goes, I have not watched something I would say is awful or terrible, or listened
Hmm.
to something that's terrible, and that is a thing of because I'm like, even if I'm like, okay, that wasn't for me, I just go, okay, that wasn't then targeted towards me. I can like see what the moral of is of what that thing was trying to tell and what it's going for, and like the amount of production and time that people would put into it to make it. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
realistically, I it does take a lot of work for music and films, and it's like
Hmm.
that's why I'm just like I don't see why people have to hate. Like you can have criticism, but like if you're
Yeah.
just hating for the sake of hating, that's when I'm just like I don't get that because I'm like
Yeah.
realistically they still made something just because it doesn't resonate with you doesn't mean someone else can't gain from that being out there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I completely agree. And I think when it comes to Prince as well, like he is like, he's one of the greatest musicians, but he's one of the most underrated. And I think it's if you are a fan, if you're a fan of him but not like a fan, it can be really hard sometimes to look past the Purple Rains, look past the 1999s and the Diamonds and Pearls and whatever. Um and actually look at his experimental side. Like I'm literally playing Face Down at the moment, which is on Emancipation, which kind of fits into our Warner Brothers talk. But so many people hate Emancipation, which is like a 3 disc album. Like you would be like sat there for a whole day listening to all the songs. And so many people hate that album, but I'm like, it's such a pivotal album for Prince, because obviously of the Warner Brothers stuff and everything like that, and because where he was in his life spiritually and being married to Maite and gonna have a baby and stuff like that. Like I think like it's so important for him to tell his story and where he was in the 90s, because the 90s was crazy for Prince, if you want to get into that.
I do have a thing about his like record labels in general, which I was gonna
Yeah.
that was part of what my rant was
Hmm.
of like I don't know if it was Warner Brothers, but
Yeah.
when because in the video that I was watching, it said there was a point in Prince's life where he was wanting like he was writing every day, like a song a day or something like that. And he
Yeah.
was wanting to put out 3 albums a year.
Hmm.
And then the record label told him like, oh, like we don't want you to do that. You're gonna oversaturate the market and your fans will get tired of your music. And
Yeah.
then what I wanted to go on a rant about that because I can't stand the fakeness of the industry now, where it feels like artists are putting out music for the sake of putting out music because that's what the record labels want for money. And it's
Yeah.
like, and yet people like Prince, who was writing because he wanted to write, and like
Hmm.
he was genuinely doing it out of the love of doing it, not just to make money. I was like,
Yeah.
he was told to limit what he was releasing
Hmm.
for the sake of set like profit and like that sort
Yeah.
of thing. When I'm like, today it feels like there's people who are putting out an album a year or like just releasing an album where I'm like, okay, it doesn't feel like you've told much. Like the amount of hate Taylor Swift Life of Sugar God's got because it doesn't feel like it had a lot of work put into it. And as I said,
Yeah.
that feels like a thing of where it's like an album put out for the sake of releasing an album, where it's
Hmm.
like like what are you trying to tell? It's like with Prince, it was like him of being like, okay, I want to release this stuff because I'm writing music every day because that's what I enjoy. So it's like we're literally taking away, like they took away things that we could have had today
Yeah.
because like if he would have been like, I want to release this thing, like let's just let artists release stuff when they want to release it rather than
Yeah.
telling them when they should be releasing stuff.
Hmm. I completely agree. And I think that also goes into, Prince being such an album artist. I think there's a difference between a singles artist and an albums artist. So, like obviously he released singles and stuff, but I think, like he was such an album artist, you know? And I think the industry has like completely changed. So you have some artists that like won't release an album until like 2030, right? But they'll keep releasing singles because it gets them money, it gets them streams. And I think when you look like back in the day, obviously singles were still a thing, but I don't think they worked quite the same. Prince himself said that he like had to put himself into like writer's rehab like so many times because he was writing too much and all of that stuff. But I think, it goes into like artist rights.
Like the thing is, we look back. So like, say when an artist does like pass away, like we look
Mhm.
back and go like, oh, like their music was so good. I wish there was more of it. Like
Yeah.
a lot of time we go like, oh, I wish they had more time. I wish they released more music. It's like
Hmm.
the fact that people are actively being told not to release more is
Yeah,
like where it's the thing of like, okay, there could have been a really good song in there, but they never got to tell it because of the record's profit.
absolutely. It could have been bigger than Purple Rain. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you would never know. I mean, that t all ties into the estate, which we'll get into later because I'm so passionate about the estate.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, it's like a part of where he's releasing a lot, and like I said, like people say like they don't like certain albums because they're flops. And it's like maybe
Mhm.
that's what the record labels was talking about when they're like, oh, you don't want to oversaturate the market and stuff. But it's like still
Yeah.
people are able to like people like you were able to find appreciation. Like you were able to appreciate those albums which loads of people go, oh, that's a flop. As I said, it's a personal thing. Like
Hmm.
people go, oh, that one's a flop, but is that because that's the vocal minority, like stuff like that? Like there's
Yeah.
probably thousands of people who still love that stuff.
Hmm. Completely. I completely agree. Um, and also with his like symbol name change and stuff like that, when I did my research for like the name change in Warner Brothers, something about George Michael came up. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see anything about George Michael? No.
No.
So George Michael also tried to get out of his contract with Sony, which also kind of ties into Michael Jackson talking about how Sony was literally the devil and stuff like that. But George Michael called it professional slavery. The media was kind of focusing on George Michael and saying, oh, this is really brave of him to speak out about this. But the moment Prince wrote slave on his face, it was kind of it was blown completely out of proportion. He was called crazy and he was like it was like, why are you doing this? I think how can you say about one artist that is really brave, they're coming out and saying, yeah, of course you should get out of your contract if it's professional slavery, and then to say to another person like, you release so many albums, like how can you be unhappy? You've just signed a $16 million deal to release six more albums under this contract. Why are you writing slave on your face? And I just think it's just insane.
It is that thing of like people expect like celebrities to just be like, oh, you shouldn't have anything to complain about. And
Hmm.
it's that thing of like where like I felt the same with like the chaperone thing of like when people were there like telling like about her when she says saying like she sets her boundaries and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like I just like you see loads of people in the comments be like, oh well they shouldn't be able to say no to stuff because they're a
Yeah.
celebrity, they chose this life. It's like if you have a passion for something and want to share it with people, like for me, I do acting stuff because I want to do performances that make other people happy. That's the only thing that I want to convey. I want to bring
Hmm.
joy to people or be able to make people think about different topics.
Yeah.
It's like so it's a thing of like where I don't think anyone, no matter their fame, deserves to be unhappy or like as if they deserve that because they wanted fame. It's like that maybe they just wanted to share something. It's
Hmm.
like the thing with like Prince, so it's like he very much was passionate about music. It's like, and then the contract he was in, obviously he wasn't happy in that contract.
Hmm.
It's like he felt like he didn't have as much control as he wanted, and he was like being told to do things that he might not have wanted to do. And yet
Yeah.
the amount of people go like, "Oh well, like what have you got to complain about? There's other people with other problems." It's like I don't think that should be an example. Like you can still have things that upset you and you don't like and want to talk about that without people
Hmm.
being like, "Oh, there's other stuff going on, like I've lost my job or blah blah blah. Like, what have you got to be unhappy about? You're in a Sony contract. It's like, well, yeah, but
Yeah.
like it's different things for different people. If that's something that's impacting them, then it's still good. Like, it's still upsetting.
Exactly. Literally, I was just about to say that, and then you said it, and I was like, yes, get it. It just shows who Prince was as an artist. It's like if someone was in a contract just to get the 16 million pound and release an album each year, it's like you would be pretty comfortable with that. You've only got to do a couple months work and then, all that stuff. But because he was so passionate about his music and he never did it for the fame, he just wanted to share his story. I think it just really proves who he was as an artist and just how passionate he was about it.
Saying that after he was able to control it more and was out of the contract, I did see
Hmm.
him saying like he would sign on to companies for like a limited time. So it wouldn't
Yeah.
be a whole contract where they have to do some amount of albums. It'd be like for certain
Hmm.
songs or an album. It'd be like
Yeah.
you're only having this one album and
Yeah.
that's something.
Yeah. I think he did that with Rave in 1999. I think he was under another contract with somebody else, and then for like nearly all the 2000s, he released it under MPG Records.
Realistically, you can never please everyone. And like, if you want to tell a story, like, you're not always going to be able to top what you've just done. Like, you can
Hmm.
be there going like, oh, I've made this thing and I'm really passionate about this thing. Like, this is what I want to tell now.
Yeah.
But you can be there like, I know not as many people understand it as my last thing. So there's like, realistically, releasing that would still be a good thing because there's like people who would benefit from that. But as I said, like a thing of where is it kind of expected for you to not release that sort of stuff if you think it's going to flop
Hmm.
because it's not as good as what you've done before, just because it's not the same line. But
Hmm.
it's like that's the thing. It's like the amount of stuff that probably we could have that is lost because it's like deemed too risky. But it's like if someone's released stuff, I don't see why they can't. If like the
Yeah.
record thinks it's too much of a risk, I don't see why that artist can't just still work on that in their own time if they're that passionate about it and then
Hmm.
release it themselves without it affecting their contracts.
Yeah. I know all of that stuff just like makes zero sense to me. Like when you really talk about the industry and all of that, like it's just insane how all of it works and how contracts work. And when you talk about like Michael Jackson and all the stuff he had going on with Sony, it's just very confusing as a consumer of music and someone who's not in the business. It's just like, I don't get how it works, but to me, it's like you kind of always want to believe the artist. Like if they're saying I'm in a contract and this is slavery, like you're going to believe them. I think those are really powerful statements to make. Um, and they shouldn't be taken with a pinch of salt. And I think some people did that with Prince in the 90s. They were kind of like, oh, he's attention seeking. He's pulling up to a red carpet with slave on his face. Like he's just doing it for attention. It's like, no, he's making a statement because no one's kind of listening to him and he's kind of taking what's going on in his life and he's chucking it at the media and being like, you need to listen. Like you're all ignoring what's happening and you need to listen. And I think that was really kind of just brave of him.
And I was like, as I said, it wasn't as if he would like because he was like outwardly speaking about like that sort of thing, but also it's like a thing of where with having it on his face, it's a thing of like even if people just show photos, it's like that would still be like, okay, that's still a statement. Where it's like if they aren't showing him speaking about it, that says enough as it is, like having slave on his face. It's like people would be like, why is that there? That starts the conversation as well. So it's like a thing of where I think it's very well thought out of like him speaking his mind. Like, because it's said
Hmm.
that like you couldn't have any form of talk about Prince without that then coming up. It's also like from what all the research I did, it was very much like he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. Like he wasn't like worried about like, oh, like if I say this thing about someone, then that person like I might not get financially. It's like he was like when he was saying about the Michael Jackson thing, he was like about the song Bad. He said like I don't want to be in a song that says your butt is mine. Like what I don't want to sing that to you, you don't
Yeah.
want to sing that, I don't want to sing that to me. And it's like a thing of where I saw people being like, yeah, it just like Prince was like he just wasn't afraid to say what he was thinking. Like that's the thing. He was blunt because he didn't tolerate the nonsense, which I think that's
Hmm.
amazing. Like when because you do get a thing of where it's like it feels like a lot of the industry in general it is very fake. But it's like as I said, it's like that's why I like people like Prince who are very open about that sort of thing and be like, well, if you're being like a jerk, like I'm gonna say like call it out and like I'm not gonna tolerate just people's nonsense. I saw an interview of someone saying they went on I think 2 dates with Prince, and I was
Hmm.
gonna ask if you knew because it's so like so I know and like I'm a fan of, and I'm just like oh my God, I wonder if I should. So I saw an interview and it was Kristen Chenoweth, and she said she had
Yes,
gone on 2 dates with Prince, and I was just like
I saw that interview. Yeah.
yeah, because I was just like, oh my God, no, I wouldn't put the two. I wouldn't actually like even feel like they met each other, let
Hmm.
alone went on like 2 dates.
Yeah.
So
It's literally insane, like how many people come out and is like, yeah, like I dated Prince, like we went out together and stuff like that. Like it's insane. Like he was a player, right?
like short, like you don't necessarily have to condone that person's actions of cheating. Like if I knew
Hmm.
someone was cheating, I'd be like, okay, that's not a great thing.
Yeah.
It's like he was still able, like as an outsider, it is fun to see that like messy scenarios. Be like, oh
Yeah.
my God, that's crazy. It is just enjoyable to watch as a fan of like
Yeah.
people. Like some things don't even have to be a fan. Like for me, a very much guilty pleasure of mine is watching Kardashian stuff because I'm like I don't necessarily like love the family, but I'm just like for me it's entertaining to watch because I just like laughing at them.
Yeah.
Like going like, oh my God, what like this is such a messy thing. Like that's I don't know, like that's why for me like reality shows when it's just like, oh I've cheated on my wife, blah blah blah. And then it's like you see them like basically having a breakdown, being like, oh please take me back. And I'm just here watching, laughing, being like, oh my God, this is like messy.
Have you seen the video of when Kim Kardashian goes on stage with Prince and he kicks her off stage?
Yeah. It's like she
Brilliant.
wasn't dancing. And then like because apparently at the time he didn't know who she was. And then was it afterwards he like people told him it was Kim Kardashian and he's like,
Mhm.
I don't even get how someone like that gets famous.
He's
Like
just so funny, man. I mean, it's valid though. If you're not like, it's Prince. Like you have to dance. Like, come on, it's literally insane.
yeah. It's that thing of like they're just like, oh my God, I'm a Kardashian, I just deserve to be but he's just like, you're not the vibe. Get out.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. I love it. It's brilliant. Shall we kind of go into like the 2000s kind of you know, and kind of onwards, because I think that's when I saw him live, and I
Yeah.
it's just so cool. I love the
I,
2000s era.
for me, like, because as I said, I didn't know too much about Prince before we were friends. Like when you then was like telling me about Prince, and I looked into like Prince and stuff like that, like probably a year ago. It was
Hmm.
like I literally saw that he died in like what 2019, and for me,
2016.
2016, and then it was like for me, I was like, going like I didn't think he was alive in the 2000s. Like that's
Yeah.
my knowledge of Prince. I was like, oh no, it feels like his songs are old. Like it feels like he
Yeah.
would have not been around like now. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, I was literally like, oh my God, that's crazy. It's like,
Yeah.
the more you know.
Exactly. Exactly. It's every day is a school day for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I love 2000s Prince. I think when you read like it's like his dilfiest era. Like this is me being thirsty right now. Like I think when when you look at like the musicology era, and I remember he did like an interview, I think when musicology dropped, and he was sat like in his little beanie. Oh my God, he looked absolutely like so sexy. Like, oh my God, stunning. Um, but I love that era. I love the musicology era. I love 3121. And I think musicology was kind of considered his comeback. That song completely like blew up. It was insane. And you've got so many songs on that album, and similar with 3121. That album like blew the hell up, and it was like his comeback. And I think when you look at musicology, he is so mature on that album. I mean, his tours were still popping. I remember when I saw him at the Hop Festival, I think that was around 2010, 2011. Best concert ever. I don't want to sound biased, but best concert ever. But that was kind of when he released 2010. Um, but like everyone was there for the vibes, and he was still playing all of his greatest hits. People thought that because he was older, it was like, oh, he's burnt out, he's done. I love the 2000s and the 2010s and stuff like that simply because of that, because he was still growing, and he was like, no, I'm actually not done. I'm going to show you what I'm still capable of at 40. And I think that's so just incredible.
I mean, as you said, like for you, it was still meaningful for you, and you got to go and see him during that
Hmm.
time. But it's like it's a thing of like, would he have necessarily been doing those concert tours as much if he wasn't still releasing music? It's that
Exactly.
thing of like he still thought he had something to tell. Like if still people are saying it's a flop, doesn't mean that he doesn't like it doesn't impact someone else, as I've been saying this whole episode.
Hmm.
But like as you said, like for you, it was like a great experience for you to be able to see him in person.
Yeah.
And it's like necessarily you might not have had that if it wasn't for those releases.
Exactly. Exactly. And like, even though I was so little, like I remember it like it was yesterday. And you know what the crazy thing is? Like so that concert that I went to, it's on YouTube. Like you can watch it, right? But I still haven't been able to watch it because like for me, like, and I was thinking about this the other day, right? Like when we were talking at the start, like when a song is a soundtrack to your life, right? And I think Prince for me is the soundtrack to my life. And I think because like I was so little, and like it was like it was like a spiritual, like I was baptized at that concert. Do you know what I mean? And I still have not been able to watch it back because I do get so emotional about Prince because he is my favorite artist. And when I think of like the darkest times of my life, I the soundtrack behind all of that is Prince. When I think of the happiest times in my life, the soundtrack to that is Prince.
Yeah. But like no, it is good that it can invoke that emotion in you. And as you said,
Hmm.
like loads of people consider that a flop era, but it does have that emotional value for you.
Yeah,
It's like for me, I can't relate to that feeling of like experiencing an artist and then having them pass away. Because like most
yeah,
of the artists that I've listened to that are older, like they're already like it's like they're already dead or
yeah,
they're like just really old now. And it's
yeah.
like a thing of like I think the only person who I can really be like, oh, I listen to their music, like well, not a lot about them, but like I listened to some of their music and then they've died was like Bonnie Tyler recently. And it's like
Hmm.
that. It's like, oh my God, that is so sad. Like I loved like the songs that like kept going karaoke, like singing songs that
Yeah.
so like I think that's like the closest, but it still wasn't like the most impactful for me because I didn't still know too much about her. And it's like a
Hmm.
thing of where because for me it doesn't really feel like from my family point of view, it doesn't really feel like music was put out there a lot. It was more of
Yeah.
like if I was listening to music, I'd be going to listen to music like going, oh, I like this artist stuff. It wasn't ever like, oh, like your family likes this musician. Like
Yeah.
I think like I know like people in my family have liked Michael Jackson and stuff, but it's like that's
Yeah.
it wasn't as if it was like, oh, like let's see thing. I think Michael Jackson is the closest, but as I said, still
Yeah.
when I knew about Michael Jackson, he was already gone. Like that sort
Hmm.
of thing. It's like because we had like the Michael Jackson Just Dance on the Wii and stuff like that. So I think that's the
Yes.
biggest. But yeah, as I said, like so for me, I can't really relate to that feeling of listening to someone's music and knowing how much they meant to you whilst they were alive, as
Yeah.
you were a fan, like knowing experiencing
Hmm.
that. Because like, as I said, most of the people I listen to is like Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, Lady Gaga, like people like
Yeah.
that. It's like so along those lines. It's like I can't feel that impact. It's like good that like as you said like you've had that experience where it's like you go like oh I was there live and now I know the aftermath of that thing like
Yeah.
it's emotional for you but it's still like kind of a good thing to be like I was in that time of like oh you're reflecting on their whole life but then also
Hmm.
you were there during a part of it seeing them live.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think like it is a really cool feeling, but I think when they pass away, like it's a really like you get really like you get it's a it's like when a family member dies, right?
Yeah.
When your whole family have loved an artist for such a long time and that artist has completely impacted your family's life for such a long time, it's really, really difficult. Like I said, I was like so young. I was like 10, I think. But like it impacted me so much. I couldn't listen to any Prince song. It sounds so parasocial, like I get it, but also I think because of, like I said, like him being a soundtrack to my life, it was really hard. And your favorite artist dies, I just think it's just one of the hardest things ever. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean I think it's that thing of like when you're a fan of someone you keep enjoying watching them evolve, like of what they become.
Hmm.
So, like as I said, it's like as someone who is like a fan of someone like Avril Lavigne. So
Yeah.
like for me, she doesn't release a ton of music, like
Yeah.
a lot now. Like she's did Love Sucks in 2022, and last year she's done songs like Young and Dumb and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so she's still releasing like a couple songs, but it's like for me, I know it's like she doesn't release an album that much, but it's like a thing of like when you if like something was to happen, I'm gonna touch wood. If something was to happen,
Yeah.
then it's that thing of like you know that's their final. They're not going to make more music. That their discography is all it's ever going to be. That sort of
Hmm.
thing, and I think that's why it's so sad because you're like, oh, like now I know there's not music. Like I'm someone who, like as I said, I want to go and see Charlie XCX in concert with her new tour, music,
Yeah.
fashion, film. Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, like it's that thing of like you can keep going stuff like if you're like you can't go to this tour, you're like, oh, they'll tour again. Like they'll
Yeah.
release another album and I'll go to that tour. But it's like
Mhm.
there's never another guaranteed next album. And that's
Exactly.
what so like sad. Like because I was just like, oh, if I can't go to the new Charlie XCX one, I was like, because I as I said, I've not been to a concert before. I was like, oh, hopefully this one. And then
Yeah.
it's that thing of like I'm going, oh, but if I can't get tickets, I can try and like save up for the next time she does it. But I'm like, what if she doesn't do it again? Like, it's never
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Exactly. And that reminds me, I think it was in 2016 or late 2015 because Prince did his piano and microphone tour. And it was in 2016 where he was performing somewhere and then he was flying to another state and then he had his emergency landing. And I remember at the time it was just like really, really scary. And he came out on Twitter and was like, "Oh, I've just got the flu, like I'm fine." And then when I read the investigation into his death book, like he had overdosed and it was like, oh my God. And then like I think it was his last concert or like one of his last concerts, and he was like, save your prayers for me and for when like you really need them. And I think at the time you don't really clock that, right? It's like, oh, he's just saying it, you know? But then a couple of days later he dies. And it's like, what? And like when I was reading that
Yeah,
book, like that book is a really hard read. Like I wasn't mentally like again, it's so parasocial, I know, but like I wasn't fully able to read that book until like a few years after his death because I wasn't actually ready to know the truth and his addictions and just how kind of lonely he was, because he was really lonely. And it goes into what you're saying. It's like, you need to go and see all your favorite artists when you can. I think when it comes to Prince, people didn't think that was going to be his last show at all. He might have took a break because he was poorly with the flu or whatever he said he had. But like when you know the real truth, like it's just so heartbreaking, man. Like,
I mean, as I said, I think it does show that disconnect of like the audience and like celebrity culture in the fact that like we just expect them to constantly be there. We're like,
yeah.
well, nothing can happen to them. They're like in the industry, like they're immune. Like it's that thing of like we don't expect them to die because we don't like it's kind of as if people don't see them as human in a
Mm-hmm.
way. And it is that thing of like when you do have someone like in the public eye who does like pass away, it's kind of that thing of where you go like, oh, okay, like it reminds you kind of like time is like subjective, like as you said, like someone
Hmm.
could just like leave at any moment, and then you go, oh, okay, like they like as you said, like people go, okay, it makes them more human, like
Yeah.
after they've gone. And it's the thing of where it then that helps you reflect being like, oh, okay, like I should be spending as much time with people I do care about, like
Yeah.
in your own like personal lives, being like, oh, okay, like truly like people could just be gone at any moment. And like you want to make sure you don't have those regrets after, the same as like how you could regret not going to their concert, same thing as that.
Hmm.
Like you don't want to leave yourself with those regrets
Yeah.
and that thing. So I think it
Absolutely.
does like help out with like as you said, like making sure
Yeah.
in your personal life you make sure all those things are met.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think it goes back to what I said earlier, because at the time when Prince released his last album, Hit and Run Phase 2, because he had Hit and Run Phase 1, Plectrum Electrum, and then Hit and Run Phase 2. Look at me all knowing all the titles. You would listen to Hit and Run Phase 2. It felt familiar, right? And it's on my wall somewhere up there, over there. But like I love that album, not just because it's his last album, but because it's so fabulous. And like I said earlier, his first album, which is called For You, and then his last album, Hit and Run Phase 2, they both feel so similar because it does feel like he found his roots and he found exactly like the passion that he had when he was 17, 18, 19. And like you don't pick up on those signs until I didn't pick up on them until he died, and it made so much sense to me. And it is just crazy how similar his first and last album is. It's just really
Yeah,
weird.
I did see people saying like I don't know how true it is because I said I haven't really seen it, but I saw people say like aesthetically it was like his appearance as well was kind of similar to his roots as well, like where he was like having his hairstyle go back to like the Afro type, and
Yeah.
then as well like just like how he dressed as well, like going
Hmm.
back to similar to the start. So it kind of was as if it was a whole full circle
Yeah.
and like going back to the start, and it's like kind of like a loop that can go on and on.
Yeah. And you don't notice it at the time. And when he did his interview with RCNO Hall, I think I'm butchering that name again, but I really recommend you watch that interview. I'll literally send you the link because I think it is his last TV interview, and I think he does that in 2014 or 2015. But when you watch it back now, I watch that interview back all the time because it is kind of haunting a little bit because he is so at peace and he is very mellow, and he has always been mellow, don't get me wrong, but I think the way he talks, it is just haunting to me. I think because he was so spiritual and stuff, when you look at coincidences like that, like it is just a little bit freaky. And that interview that I mentioned, like it is very strange and it is very haunting, and that could just be for whatever reason, you know? When you look back at it, like it's just really strange.
I mean, I think it is that thing of like where I think if there's more media about you around, like if it's more noticeable, those signs, like because it does happen to like general people, you go like, that's crazy the amount of coincidences that happen to like because I see coincidences with people I know personally or with myself.
Hmm.
I'm like, that's so
Yeah,
weird, but I think it's easier to see when someone is in the public eye like that because it's recorded.
yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. It's mental. I guess that kind of leads us into kind of the legacy of Prince.
For me, as I said, like Prince has become like someone I do really enjoy in the music industry and someone who I look at and go like that person like he's just like a meaningful part of like music and show, but also like for me personally as well, because like as I said, like through our friendship, I think when I think of like an artist like for friendship and stuff, I now go like I associate Prince with our friendships. Every time I see a Prince thing, I just like get filled with happiness because of like it reminds me of you and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so I think it is like a thing of where for his legacy for me as a person, I'm just like I think it don't like his music like discography is just like valuable to me in that way because like there's
Mhm.
stuff that I haven't listened to, but I know I can listen through it and be like, oh, this is like a song Ash is gonna know. Like that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. That's so cute. I feel similar when I hear Let's Work because I like you like that song and I'm like, oh my God, that's one that I know Jay likes. Like that's
Yeah.
brilliant. But I guess in terms of his legacy, like, when we were talking about like the Warner Brothers and contracts and stuff, like all that stuff that happened with Taylor Swift and her doing like Taylor's version and stuff like that. Like, I don't think that without Prince and without him being so public about the Warner Brothers stuff, like there there probably wouldn't have been as much like pushback from Taylor being like, I want my masters back. I think Prince like really, and the pun is coming, like revolutionized kind of all of that stuff, and the industry kind of did change because of all the stuff he went through. Also think in terms of his legacy, with his estate, which I have opinions on, but whatever. Um, I
They
think
did
when
release a lot of his music after the fact, haven't they? Like, because he had a lot of like things that he had recorded and just like
yeah.
left in his like studio on the
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
it's just
so
like they've been remastering it or just like ed change or whatever, unless it's
yeah.
already done, and then they released it or like are they sort like changing the sounds of it?
Yeah, it's such a complicated answer because like they're so stingy with their releases. So like they released an album called Originals, which half of them were like um songs that were like demos that he gave away to other artists, like Nothing Compares to You. He gave that away to Sinead O'Connor. He gave away some to The Time. He gave some to like Manic Monday. Like everyone knows that from the Bangles, but he wrote that. They haven't done that many releases. Like they've done remasters of Purple Rain. They've done like they did a super deluxe of Sign of the Times, which was incredible. They did one for Diamonds and Pearls. They said they were going to release a remastered super deluxe version of Around the World in a Day, and it turned out it was just a remaster, and then you're gonna get like a 7-minute version of Raspberry Beret. It's like no one asked for that. We want new music. Give us what we want. We don't want another version of Raspberry Beret. We've got that like 7 times. I get it's because of funds and stuff like that. Like they released Diamonds and Pearls, which did really, really well. And they released Coming to America, which was a DVD and a an LP, and that did really well. But some of the stuff have been flops, so I guess when something flops, they don't have enough funds to kind of do the next project. But it's
Then
not
as well, in
wrong.
that regard, couldn't they like? Is it because of the lack of promotion on their end of why it's not becoming as successful? But then also, if they were to kind of be like, oh, we don't want one to flop, could they not just do like a Kickstarter thing and be like, gauge interest and like be like, okay, if you donate this amount, you'll get a copy of this. Because then they can see like
Yeah.
if they go like it has to reach this threshold of like to break even or something,
Hmm.
then they'll be able to see if they get all their money back. If like
Yeah.
people did it on Kickstarter and would be guaranteed the album if they donate a certain
Yeah.
threshold to that.
I'm not really sure how it worked. Like, I have no idea because all the stuff they have been releasing so far have been really good, especially when they do the DVDs. Like, they did a post and it's like, the vault is free. And this was like maybe a year ago. They was like, the vault is free. Like, we're out of a contract. Like, we're going to release everything. And there's been nothing.
I was gonna say if it is like a thing of where they could prioritize the unheard stuff, that would be good because
Hmm.
it feels like more as like they're trying to get as much money as they can, but then also just like without losing too much of what they already have. So
Yeah.
because like I feels like as if they're trying to prolong releasing it so they could
Hmm.
have be set up for the future.
Yeah.
And it's a thing of where, okay, realistically, if you're like the main fan base of Prince, like a lot of people might not be around by the time they go, okay, we want more money, let's release this now. Because like not as much
Yeah.
people will care because like a lot of his main fan base might not be here because like I don't see a lot of Prince content online, like from my point of view. So I'm like, okay, so like
Hmm.
his fan base out there, like as I said, it's just like I don't think the youth of today. I don't think they're going to necessarily hear about Prince unless it's in the media eye. And it's like if they're not releasing
Yeah.
much about Prince or like only doing songs that we've already got,
Yeah.
how are you going to set up for the future and make people interested in hearing that stuff? The people who want to hear it
Hmm.
might not be here by the time it's released.
Exactly. You're so right. You don't see any of that stuff on social media. I follow the Paisley Park account on TikTok, and only recently they've been like trying to like cater to like the Gen Z, Gen Alpha people, but like it's kind of cringe because it's like this has just come out of nowhere and you're
Yeah.
trying to appeal to all these younger fans, but it's like you should have done that when Prince died. Why are you doing it now? It's a little bit too late, I think, because you're so right. Like I think Prince's demographic is mostly people his age, maybe a little bit younger, maybe a little bit older. But I think when it comes to people like my age, like our age, you don't see that many people being like die-hard Prince fans. Do you know what I mean? I think in my
Yeah.
life, I have one friend who is a really big Prince fan, and her name's Amber. Shout out Amber, love you. But like that's the only person I know who like knows the deep cuts of Prince, and it's like I think social media and the promo and like the trying to get Prince to different demographics, like there's just none of that, and it's so shit.
I think, as you said, it is a marketing thing because I don't think it's like people are unwilling to listen to things of older artists in a way. Because
Hmm.
like as most of my TikTok is like people opening vinyls. Like, here's my vinyl haul. So it would
Yeah.
work if they release new vinyls, like
Yeah.
as you said, of the albums that haven't got like vinyl releases. That would be a good way to do it and like market it that way. And then
Yeah.
also like for me, when I go to like bookstores like TG Jones, what was WH Smith. When I the eye roll. But basically when I go in there, I always see books in there about different artists. You get one, so it's like here's Taylor Swift, here's Sabrina Carter, here's Chappell Roan, here's Olivia
Yeah.
Rodrigo, here's Fall Out Boy, here's like Queen, here's different stuff like that. So there's like ones like Take That and stuff. It's like
Yeah.
for most time, it was very hard to like see ones in there because like the Beatles, I hardly saw ones in there about them. I found one, and I was like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna buy it. It
Yeah.
wasn't until like last month there was like one of Prince in there, but it looked
Mm.
as if that was one that was like, oh, it was just like one they had randomly left over from like years ago or something.
Yeah.
It just like put out on the shelf. Like it was actually the only one there, and it was like
Mhm.
relabeled, like they put a sticker over it. And I'm just like, that would be a good way to get people into it as well. Because like there's those artists which I started listening to because I got a book about them. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it looks cool. Like, what's the one? Stray Kids.
Hmm.
K-pop band, and it's like I listened to their music. It's like, oh, okay, this sounds like really cool. And I was like, because I got the book first.
Yeah.
It's like, so if you have it in there, people go like, oh, like that looks like cool. Let me read that. Like, because as well, it's like getting different artists. Like for me, I collect loads of like books about artists and like magazines and stuff like that about different musicians.
Hmm.
And for me, a lot of it is always like going, let's get one about an artist I don't yet have. And
Yeah.
it's like, so then I can have like a diverse collection and read about different artists and then like listen to their music
Hmm.
after reading about them.
Yeah.
And it's like they could do that with Prince, but I haven't seen too much out there of him.
Yeah. And I think, like physical media is such a trending thing. Everybody wants vinyls, Everybody wants a Purple Rain vinyl. And I get it
Yeah.
because is his most popular album.
I feel like they could do colored pressings about stuff or even printed vinyl pressings. And it's
Yeah.
like that would make so much money because like sometimes people just buy the press like the vinyl pressings just because of how the disc looks rather than if they've actually heard it before. It's like that would
Yeah.
be another good marketing move for them. Like, oh, that special like purple edition Purple Rain printing like on a
Hmm.
purple disc where it's like you could even have like the splatter marks, so it's like black and purple.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I
But it's like yeah.
I think they did do that because I've got Rave and Chaos and Disorder and they're both purple. But again, it's like, but those albums were considered as flops. It's like, why don't you do it to Sign of the Times? I've got my Sign of the Times one here, and it's normal. Like, it's literally like that's it. Like that would be so cool if it was like orange, if it fit the vibe. But they're doing it to like albums that are considered flops, and I'm like, you have bigger albums that Prince has done where you can easily generate money. Like Musicology was considered his comeback album in the 2000s. Re-release that and make it a different color. Like it's not hard to do. Like I don't think vinyls are that fucking difficult to do, but they're just so fucking lazy.
I did just think of like a cool one that could happen. It's like Blood Records. I know they're not the best company because of how terrible they are with like the pre-orders and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they had a Lady Gaga one, which was like an orange liquid filled vinyl, and then they
Hmm.
had the Sabrina Carpenter Man's friend Pink Champagne, and then they also had Troye Sivan something to give each other a honey filled one.
Hmm.
And it's like they could do like a Purple Rain one of that and have it purple liquid filled. People would
Yes.
buy that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I'd
you've
buy it because I'm like purple liquid filled vinyl. That'd be cool.
exactly.
Say for like example, like the Taylor Swift like Life of a Showgirl stuff.
Hmm.
She then, after releasing the initial one, she did a special like five, I think, different special edition ones. So it's like one you get, but like a different variation of one song. So like I got the Elizabeth Taylor special edition version.
Yeah.
It's like with that one, you also get like the writer's room part where it's like she's talking about like going through the song and be like, oh, I want to add this bit, like this is how I want it to sound. Like that's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
people are spending money on all these different variations so they could hear those of her just talking about how she wants to make the song. It's
Yeah.
like that's just her going like, oh, like yeah, I feel like if we had more piano because I want the piano, blah blah blah. It's like you could do that with Prince of like the demos of what like not a full song. Like people would buy it for
Hmm.
that. Like you could
Absolutely.
do like a song of being like unfinished demos
Hmm.
and like have that as a whole album.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it is what they did with originals, but I think like I mean that alone like it is their best release for me. And I love Diamonds and Pearls and I think that Super Deluxe was incredible. But like I just don't like it's just weird. Like they release all this stuff and then they completely stop for like years and then they're coming out with another thing and it's like, but how long is it going to be until they release something after the album that they're releasing? Like when you look at other people like David Bowie for instance and like Jimi Hendrix, there are so many new like I'm such a Jimi Hendrix fan. I love like the stuff that the estate has released. I think it's incredible. And like they are continuous with it.
Actually, they're being so stingy of like releasing it and like being like, oh, keep it closed, we want to keep it like to us. It's like that's
Hmm.
kind of also like reflecting of the fan base. Like your
Yeah.
fan base isn't evolving because you're not you're being so tightly closed off. It's like you're
Exactly.
not getting new people in because of how you're acting.
Exactly. And like what we said earlier, like for all we know, there could be a better Purple Rain in there. And it could go absolutely mental right now. It could literally like break so many records. Either they haven't found the right, like I think they said in an interview or like they said publicly the estate that like they haven't gone through every single song, which like fine. That's fine to say. But I think the songs that you have heard and you know are worthy of like a release. Like I just don't get why it's not happened. And surely the stuff they have listened to is worth a release.
I mean, yeah, do you think that's a good place to end the Prince topic?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's not 4 hours long. Yeah, I was gonna say to close off, is there any music news you've got at the minute? Is there like anything you're buying, what like music wise?
Hmm. You start.
Okay, so I should be right. I mean, I've got the notification that the posts have got it, but I've got my pre-order of the blue Charlie XCX music, fashion, and film vinyl coming, and then
So excited.
also the special edition um CD, which has
Hmm.
Charlie XCX on the cover. So it's like the three guys in. I'm
So
really
cool.
looking forward to that because I think the album comes out Friday. But I'm like, if the posts have got it, like it's been dispatched to them now. I'm like, what if I get it tomorrow?
I'm so excited for you to get that. You're gonna have to give me a haul for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I get a signed art card as well that can
You
go on my
bitch.
Facebook. I mean, I've got a Troye Sivan signed autograph on the wall.
I'm so jealous.
It can go next to that. I would like it on my background, but then I was like, I don't want it to get ruined, so it might be framed on the wall next to Troy.
That would be awesome. That would be so cool. I have my MPG set list because they gave it to me and we've got a guitar pick and I it's completely ripped. Like I don't take care of shit like that. I take care of my vinyls, but not my posters, obviously. I'm just trying to think like what artists I like that are K1 released. No, okay. Steve Lacy released an album like a week ago and I've been absolutely obsessed. It's so good. Um, yeah, he's brilliant. I don't know. I I don't know who I've been into recently. I've just been listening to Bad Bunny and then Prince for our research. But like, I'm so boring when it comes to music. Like, I have my phases. I think I'm in my Bad Bunny phase at the moment for sure.
I mean, I feel like a lot of your music purchases is more like random, like you'll find it in a vinyl store rather than like, oh, I'm gonna go out and get that thing.
Yeah. But what was the latest vinyl that you've bought?
It was two Prince
It
ones.
was the Prince one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I do
Cute.
have them. I can go and get them, but
Hmm.
go get them. The first Prince album I got.
Cute. I love it.
And then the two recent ones,
Oh, the Thieves in the
Thieves in the Temple.
Temple. Stunning. Oh,
And then this one is Prince 200 Balloons and Bat Dance. Very fitting that my last two recent vinyls is Prince.
what a coincidence.
One coincidence.
I love it. I've
Yeah.
literally loved this chat with you. It's been amazing.
And we get to again in like 2 weeks.
I know. And who is our artist next week? Do you want to just pluck? Because
Uh,
it's your turn to pick.
yes. See, I was trying to think of like one because I was like, because I'm going to be doing more theatres. I was like, I want to do one which I don't have to do too much research about. And so I was like,
Hmm.
maybe we do Avril Lavigne because love
Yes.
Avril Lavigne. And then also because like talking about the clone theory, because I've watched a whole podcast on it. I can't remember what her name is. Joanne McNally.
Hmm.
She was like, I think she did a podcast and she went to Avril Lavigne's hometown and was there going like, oh, so what do you think about Avril Lavigne being a clone?
What?
It was like, yeah. But like as I said, like loads of people are convinced she's a clone, and then I'm in the thing of like I don't buy it, but also I'm like even if your theory is correct, I'm like the clones put out so much more music than the original Avril Lavigne, then we might as well just
Exactly.
give her her flowers.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's similar to Paul McCartney. People think Paul McCartney like died and then they brought in a clone. And it's
like because
like,
I saw the videos of like, oh, if you reverse like play the song backwards, it says Paul's dead.
yeah, it's like these people, seriously. But yeah, I'm excited for the next one. That's going to be so cool because I don't know that much about Avril. This concludes our Prince episode. Thank you for
The Crash
listening.
Pod episode 1.
Crash Pod episode 1, we did it, baby. We did it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, thank you for watching.
thank you for watching and
Hopefully
listening.
our opinions and thoughts on Prince didn't put everyone off.
I know we were a little bit controversial. Little
Controversy.
pun. I love it. But yeah, so next episode we'll be doing Avril Lavigne and that'll be coming in a few weeks' time.
Yeah,
So yeah, thank you, Jay, for doing this with me.
you're welcome.
I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.